Welcome to AstroBros.
I was in the middle of saying something, and people just
Okay.
had to interrupt me with the beginning of the podcast.
Wait, people
Thank you
were
very
interrupting
much.
you? Is that what you're saying?
Hey,
Yeah,
what were you
I mean,
saying, Troy?
yeah,
Troy,
I don't know.
Troy,
I don't know
Troy,
anymore because it's not
Troy,
important because people weren't listening to me.
Troy. Finish your thought, Troy.
Well, no, that was the
Okay,
whole
so
point.
anyway, so welcome to
It's like, oh, don't lose that thought, Troy. Don't lose that thought. Oh,
Yeah,
wait, no, let's just start the episode before you finish that thought so you don't lose
yeah.
that thought, Troy.
So
Oh,
what were
that
you
was so
thinking
rude of
about?
us. It
Love you,
was so
Katie.
rude of us.
Welcome to AstroBros. It's chaos.
I love Troy's cackle. It's one of my favorite things, man. Like I really do. I like it's when he's really in it. Like if I were like a stand-up comedian and like I got Troy really good, and like I heard him in the front row, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm doing well."
You would totally comment on it though. You can't not. That is a
All I'm
cackle.
hearing is I need to bottle my laugh into a laugh
No.
track and
That's an
Yeah.
sell
interesting
it.
way to interpret that because that's very far away
Absolutely,
from what I was saying.
ASO. ASO needs a laugh track.
It's
Yes,
true.
indeed.
Like Friends.
Yes.
Or we should make an ASO spin-off of Friends called Frenemies and just go through all the different people that have been friends and then suddenly are the worst enemies in the world and then became friends again so they can team up. It's like super frenemies.
Well,
Like I think that's the
well, you know how they have those like comment songs? How they'll have like people go down and they'll do like AI songs. I really
yeah.
like Sabina's version. But what if we did the same thing where we just went and took some like really choice like discussion that people were having and then like table read it. Like give it out to people and then they sit down like a blind table read and
Okay, that's good.
read somebody else's argument. That'd be hilarious.
It would
We've
be pretty
done
funny.
that. We did that once. We got
Really?
yeah, it was in one of the chats. It might have been Royal's chat that we did it in. But there was some argument on ASO. It was between Moskovic or something. I forget Masha's last name, but Masha's awesome. And this other lady, I forget what her name was, and they were arguing about like it was something like I posted something and somebody was like, "That's so sexist." And then Masha like comes in and she's like, "Oh, you're such a, like you're a baby." And then the lady comes back, "Oh, way to be a pick me, sister." And it was like it just went on for like so long. They were just going back and forth and it was awesome insults. Each one of them was doing awesome insults. So I got Andrea and somebody else to do a table reading of it and send me the clips of what they had read
Uh,
and I turned it into a video of them going back and forth between each other, like
Oh, that's
saying
amazing.
the comments to each other. So we have done something like that before, Troy, and we should do more of that. It's like a dramatic reading of a ASO argument, and
I
I
mean,
think
Oh
that
yeah.
we should definitely do that.
with
Or
to,
even
with
or even take it to the next level and do like sketch comedy based
That's
on it.
harder to do like far away from each other, but yeah, we could try. We could try. I'm down with trying anything, man. I love that shit.
Well,
with
and
today's
I mean,
events, I mean, we'd have so much fucking fodder for good content already. Like,
Jesus. I've got to
well,
make a song about it. There's a lot of pressure.
the key thing is with any of these like projects, like I've learned about doing a project that basically like don't really suggest a project unless you are ready to like do it, and like
Yeah.
champion it and lead it, you know. And so for like some of these, I have a lot of ideas, and a lot of them I can't use, but I throw the ideas out there because there's other people who might want to pick them up, you know. But there's a
Like
lot
the
of people.
deck. Your deck
Well, the
idea was really good.
yeah,
well, and that's something that like I don't have the expertise for that, but between the people in this group, the idea was, well, like right now we're doing an ASO deck, so we're taking people in the deck and we're turning them into, or I should say, mixing them with the tarot cards. So we're essentially like mixing their archetype with the card archetype, which I think will be really cool. But then also like doing ship posting oracle decks, like doing a ship posting astrology deck or a ship posting new age deck or a ship posting animal deck would be hilarious too, you know. But like we essentially have enough people in this group, that we can essentially, you know, collaboratively work on certain projects and do a lot of the like intellectual heavy lifting, as a group that everybody can kind of feel involved in and kind of do something really special. And then it just requires some people, to actually like do all the logistics too to actually see it through.
Yeah. I mean,
do the
that's
work. Yeah.
that's like the hard part, right? But
No.
Well, it's the second
the
90 and it's the first 90% and the second 90%, as I've learned to call it.
I basically earned up almost enough to do because I can't pay out of pocket for um the legal setup for the nonprofit, but I've been earning up money through like the Substack and stuff like that slowly over the course of time, and I'm almost to the point where I could probably do that. But I'll need to also set up like an account and stuff to be able to pay for stuff through it. A person just recently looked up a bunch of different spiritually
I'll edit
related
that out.
grant programs where you can actually just get grants for your things that you're trying to do. And I've taken grant writing courses before, and with ChatGPT, if you know what the grant is, you could probably make grant proposals pretty easily according to that. So we might try to just like get grant money for the first tarot deck for the group and use that as the seed
Okay.
money for the nonprofit, which would be
I
good.
mean, you could
It would
also
have to-
crowdsource it. I mean, crowdsourcing is already set up in that way. And a lot of that stuff is you can just essentially set it up that people pre-buy their deck as part of the Kickstarter or whatever platform you use.
Yeah, I just want to do it all business and merch. I want to do through a nonprofit. If
Yeah.
there's work that goes into making the deck, or if there's work that goes into like you can pay through a nonprofit like regular wages or prevailing wages for people doing the work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It just can't be self-dealing, right? So it's like
Um,
you just got to be careful about it.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm a minister. We could have a church.
I mean, I've thought about that a lot, but I feel like it's like a little bit like it would be much harder to sell that the group is not a cult if we're actually a church. Does that make sense? Like,
I
that's
say
my
lean into
sense
it.
of it.
Lean into
Like
it,
that's my
100%.
problem with it.
It would be even funnier though. It'd be hilarious because you could just be like the meme. It'd be a real life
We're
meme.
not a
where
cult,
it's-
we're a church.
Yeah,
I think that would be hilarious, to be honest.
I agree.
Can
I
you
think that'd be
sell
good.
merch through a church though? Is there church merch?
I
Church
mean,
merch?
have you ever seen Jesus on anything?
Never.
No, no.
I have
Um.
absolutely.
Oh wait, yeah, I have. I
Absolutely
guess a couple
Jesus
times. Yeah.
merch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do whatever you want.
I don't know. I think that
Yeah.
maybe
Making more red
the
tape and
educational nonprofit we could find out that actually there's a lot of desire for what we're doing, and then move to the next level. But I feel like we should start on the ground and then elevate ourselves once we're actually you know.
That's
I don't
Yeah.
want to live up to the false prophet thing that Snow's always trying to get me on lately.
Oh no, I say lean into
Well,
it. No,
I
and
mean,
plus,
if you're a
according to
nonprofit, isn't all the profit you make just false profit?
insert drum.
Under the
Yeah.
Federal Reserve, it's all false prophets. Yeah, that's true. Wait.
Sorry, Nick.
It's good. That's good. No problem. That's beautiful. I would say if you're gonna write a grant under this administration, you either gotta be a church or just write like that. Our group is like just write like MAGA on the form like 20 times.
No, I think like it's not from the government. Not all grants come from the government, right? So
Okay.
a lot of them come from like private individuals or private foundations.
Okay.
Maybe we can trick Soros into funding us, and we'll work against him. Who knows?
That works.
We don't know. We don't know. We'll figure it out.
That would
Yeah.
be rich.
Yeah.
Are there any really rich astrologers out there who have a sense of humor? No. Darn. Okay, never mind. Rich
haven't
astrologers?
noticed, like-
What? That's not an oxymoron. Yeah. Okay.
That was like the biggest problem that I had with the reason I started astrology shit posting only because all the astrology groups on Facebook, like astrologers are like notoriously like assholes. You know, it's crazy. Like the big astrologers are like, I mean, not all of them. You know what I'm saying? But they're like really touchy with each other. They're mean to each other. They're like very like tribal and like always yelling at each other for like, oh, you use whole signs. Oh, you use Placidus. Blah blah. You know, it's like that kind of shit. And I noticed all the groups were like really up their own butt, and that's why I started astrology shit posting only, was because almost all the astrology groups were up their own butt, and I was like, I should start something that's like doesn't take itself that seriously, so it's more of an entry level place to go for people, so they're not just getting like turned off from it by a bunch of like people up their own butts, like fucking yelling at them for not using the right house system. You know what I'm saying?
And they're still up their butts. It's just in a different way.
I mean, yeah, it's like they're like literally up each other's butts now. That's like the
true.
problem. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's got like this telenovela feeling to it. I mean,
It really does.
if you think about think about how many people in the group just like literally are in the chats every day. And think about how much of a rotating cast that is, right? People like move in and out of the chats. Like they're part of it for a season or two, and then they're like, holy shit, man, this is taking up my whole life. It's too much. And then they leave. And then usually they come back eventually and they go through the line, they go through it all again. It's like a black hole of astrology that just pulls people in and eventually I don't know, compresses them too much and then they have to leave, I don't know. I'm not really good with black hole analogies.
My theory is more acceptance of cringe within. I've told you this, that it would actually heal a lot of what's going on, this kind of posturing and farce face or masking or trying to pretend to be something you're not, whatever. If we had this group event where we were just super childlike and cringe and all got on the same level and absolutely to a point almost embarrass ourselves as a group, just to not, finally start laughing again, just to get cry laughing tears and catharsis started all over again. Just start realizing we're all just humans with belly buttons trying to get along.
I don't have one.
We're having rough days, so I feel like cringe is the secret for this.
No, I dig it. I like that. I think
Embrace your cringe and you will become free, is what I've heard.
humor and cringe and just not taking everything so fucking seriously. No, I like that.
Well, it's just like you have to accept your cringe to be able to release it.
Really?
And yeah.
Otherwise, you just hold on so close. You're batting people away from what you think you're protecting, and you just become an asshole. You can't be touched, but nobody can get to the core of you and have fun with what's there.
Yep.
I like that. I dig that. Yeah. I think there's something there. Yeah.
Everybody's forgetting to be playful. It's a shit posting group. That's like, hello.
Well, I get it, because there are some people who aren't playing the game in a playful manner. And we've learned from our defense mechanisms and our traumas in our outside reality, and that we're bringing into the group and in these chats or into any relationship, the patterns that we've learned. So we're trying to recognize the patterns right now with all of the patterns that we've recognized beforehand, whether they're right or wrong. So the thing is like, it's like the only way that we learn from our current experience is from projecting from the past. So it's always something to just like realize, like, I can't see in my own blind spots, but the thing is like, I have to look for my symptoms to realize, oh, I'm like
6th house, 12th house. That's our job. That's why we have a 6th house. That's why we have a 12th house. Like we need those checks and balances.
Flesh that out for someone who is still an astrological newbie, please.
What do you mean? Explain it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no problem.
No, like flesh out that idea. I just didn't understand what you said.
I have I'll start it like this. This is I think about this a lot because I have a 12th house north node, a 6th house south node, very strong Taurus Scorpio axis. There's a lot of rebirth, rebuilding. in my 6th and 12th. So I live this every single day, so I can break this down pretty fucking easy, I feel like, because you can't have a positive mindset, right? Or understanding yourself spiritually, or even get to your blind spots without some sort of routine or some sort of scope of organization. If you don't have a way to process the information on the back end that you're getting from the 12th house, you're going to lose yourself in it. You're going to self-destruct. You're going to dissolve. Your identity will more or less unify with the all, because you're so spiritually floaty. You're not grounding in anything. So you really need those everyday routines in your 6th to get to it. So when it comes to what we were just talking about, my God, help me out.
Can you
I've
take a
got
step back?
something to add to that, actually.
What is the 6th house and what is the 12th house?
Okay, so we'll simplify that even more.
Thank you.
6th house is ruled by Virgo. We're thinking about mercurial nitpickiness, categorization, observations, health, pets. You know, workouts are this is the type of workout
routines, habits. Yeah.
Your bodybuilding, you have a very big structured workout plan. You eat the same thing every day because you have a goal. The 12th house is ruled by Pisces. It's spiritual. It's mental illness. It's, like I said, dissolving. It's the antithesis of everything that would be constructive with consistency. It's doing things as you feel, letting your decision, your feelings guide you instead of your sense of duty and devotion guiding you. It's very spiritual, but not necessarily the kind that gets you on a pilgrimage. If you're devoted spiritually and you want to go on a pilgrimage, you need your 6th house involved,
because it gets you on the path pretty much. I've got also North Node in the 6th house in Virgo, and then
Me too.
South Node in the 12th
Pisces.
house in Pisces. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're opposite.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. You
yeah,
have your South Node in Virgo, and
in the 12th.
you have in the 12th. Okay. What I've found is like okay, so when you bring up the unconscious behavior, especially unconscious behavior that drives yourself, so that's more of a 12th house thing. When you're just unconscious, you'll just kind of go by your scripts, you know, these unconscious scripts that we learn through life or through experience. But when that becomes conscious, the 6th house has something to do with it, because when it becomes conscious, that's when we're like, why do I keep doing this stupid fucking thing that always ruins my life, right? And 6th house, or Virgo energy in general, I know they're not the same thing, but it's very masochistic and sadistic. Like Virgo energy is like masochistic and sadistic. And when you bring up, it's like the I'm a fucking hopeless sinner energy is that 6th house energy. I need to do something about this because I keep fucking up, you know? And it's like, how do I do something about this? Oh, I need different patterns. I need to do things differently. I need to actually.
How do I get the forgiveness that I need so bad? I have to atone for it. We had a subject like this earlier.
Yeah.
It's funny this gets brought up. Perfect
If
time.
you want forgiveness, you have to like recognize like that unconscious part of you that's like leading you to take actions that are going against your own self, going against like who you actually are and that you don't want to be. So you have to like have that critical nature of your own actions in order to change your patterns to make them better.
It's the observer. Spiritually, when you're meditating, you get in the observer mode. So you can separate your consciousness from, you know, who's the person thinking the thoughts and who's the person doing and being, and you know, so this is very 6th to 12th.
Yeah. Can I jump in?
Yes, please.
I think something that we're leaving out is like it's escapism versus service, because like you can like live in like magical fantasy dream world where like, you know, I mean, I have South Node in the 12th in Virgo, but it's still in the 12th. Like for me, it's like, yeah, I can get lost in my anxieties and get lost in like an escape in them almost, and then or I could just surrender and serve, which is the kind of the combination of the Pisces and the six. But it's like as you serve others, in order to be of service to other people, you have to have a routine. You have to take care of yourself. Like the more you can take care of yourself, the more you can take care of other people.
For
Like,
sure.
and if you just escape into like, well, I'm feeling this way, or I'm just going to escape into my mind or escape into non-reality, like you're not doing anything. It's self-serving in a way, like what we were talking about, where it's like you're just living
Spiritual
in like,
masturbation.
yes, exactly. And like service is not just like, I'm making you food. It's also like being there for people, like,
Present.
listening to people, like being very present, being very much in the moment, which is very much like a Virgo success thing. It's like being in the moment, not being in like this, time is an illusion, everything is one, all this stuff. No, it's like moment to moment, I'm going to be and do and figure out like, okay, in this moment, I need to do this for this person or do this for myself so I can be present. I mean, there's a million things, but that's where that whole routine thing comes from. And so, yeah, it's like to be of service to people. It also pulls you out of the escapism and kind of the
Yeah.
delusions we get into about ourselves, because it's like you then pull yourself out of yourself and put it into the thing you're doing, like whether in service can again be a million different things, but
Absolutely.
it's
Yes. How you show up really matters in the sixth. It's how you come every day, where your energy is, and how like habits show. It's your habit. Really bad, really down bad. Your habits. What are you doing in the dark?
Yes.
Are you like float? Something I used to do in my 20s before my Saturn return. I have a sixth house Saturn. Craving to craving to craving. I love drinking cases of beer. Eating food, drinking beer, and like I got almost 300 pounds. I was big, and now that I've been on the other side of my Saturn return, when I had the smack of sixth house, and stopped being in my 12th, I was living from the neck up, and then I finally got into my body in the sixth house, started working out. Now one of my favorite things to do is eat healthy and pick really good ingredients and make sure I'm not floating from craving to craving to craving unconsciously. So that's blind spots, using your emotions to be more intelligent and being more atoning for your past and trying to do better with your body, your physical intelligence over your spiritual bypassing through whatever other means you can get it, through drugs or meditation or whatever your fucking thing is.
Yeah. No,
real.
I dig
hey, dog,
that. Yeah.
I don't really want you here right now.
Oh.
I don't though. I want to kick him out. I love my dog. Do you want to see him? Oh, he's a cute dog. Look at how cute he is.
Someone wants to play.
Oh, his face. Damn. Yeah, so this Uranus and Gemini is in my 12th, so I literally can't see how it's like, and it's just even more unseen than.
Oh God, I hate my 12th house transits, man.
I don't know, man.
Oh. Saturn's been there forever. Neptune's been there for like 12 years now.
Oh.
I don't even remember when I
know.
knew what reality was. But it's all going to go into my first pretty soon, and then I'm going to be like, oh, reality is this, and we'll hope that that's not kicking my ass too bad.
Well, it's good. You'll start a new cycle for you, and it will be good. I had Saturn transit my ascendant like a decade ago almost, and like it was a good one for me. So it's not so bad.
I stand. I love Saturn so bad. I will always feel so grateful for understanding. Like that's when I really, really started to personalize astrology and really understand how it was affecting me on a daily basis, and wrestling with it, and understanding that suffering was a choice was so Saturnian for me to learn in Scorpio. Like you're gonna deal with bad shit happening, but it's all about how you look at things, and you can choose to suffer about it or you can choose to grow from it. And that was like, damn, that was so freeing. I loved my Saturn return at the end of it. And then I got a divorce, and it was pretty damn great. I was married to a Capricorn, so it really felt like full circle.
You were like, I finally graduated from needing to suffer. This is
my
great.
Saturn lessons are over. we got married
until the next time. Yeah.
So it was very Saturnian. It was ridiculous.
Oh.
So Troy is. Are you understanding what we're talking about, or are you pretty much checked out?
No, I tried to ask her to explain what she said, and then she just listed off about his 2 sentences with about like 6 words I've never heard before. So,
Oh,
Well, it was
yeah.
good.
we gotta.
Okay, this
Let's help him.
explaining
I'm
astrology.
sorry.
Oh
I'm
no,
No,
sorry.
like
you
we've
don't have to
we've
apologize.
long passed the on ramp for me to be able to understand what you guys were talking
I didn't
about.
know your level of understanding. I was not ran
Yeah.
through how everybody.
I know the
No,
3 of us were
my
just like,
job.
oh yeah. And then,
I feel
I'm
bad.
the
Bam,
learner
bam,
on the
bam.
podcast, and my
It's
job
okay.
is mainly to ask questions.
Yeah.
In that sense, and
I
bring
will
in,
do better now that I know I need to be not in the
ex-
not in my
explain to me.
full Aries
Explain to
mode.
me like I barely know what a fucking Pisces is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like see,
Wow.
also the way I'm a ground up thinker. So the thing is that like I want to hear the basics, because everybody who has an expertise in astrology has a very different fundamental understanding. Like you could literally just get 10 of the best astrologers in the group, and we could have a discussion about just what Pisces energy is for 3 hours, and there would be so much disagreement on certain elements of it. You know what I
Pisces is
mean?
Pisces. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
Pisces, but
Yes
like
and
we can
no, but
talk.
there would also be a lot of agreement, and where that
Yeah.
agreement is kind of what that's the whole point. Is like, yeah, we all have our kind of our take on it, but it's the where it all lines up is like that's where that's the best to take away from it. Is like, yeah, like I might think this about Pisces, Mike might think one thing, Katie might think one thing, but like
Mike's
where
a
we
Very
or
gay
agree,
fish.
Nick,
Pisces is
you're
a
making
gay
exactly
fish.
the point I was making. That's exactly
yeah.
what I was gonna say.
Well,
So I want to hear what everybody has to say on some of the basic level stuff, because like
Let's backtrack and get there.
yeah,
everything else is like structured on that. No, we don't have to backtrack. I'm just
no,
saying
but
for
all right,
because to be honest, is a large amount of people in the group are still in that like what am I trying to say? Beginning to medium stage. The majority of the people are in that stage because once you hit that medium stage, you know enough that you can kind of filter out and control your own journey in that. But like when you're getting started and there's sidereal and all this other stuff, whole sign, half sign, Vedic stuff, I
no,
mean,
that's
you
see,
know,
that's the
That's why
problem
you
is
just
and
don't
that's
listen to the
aside from
Vedic
all the
stuff.
people who are just full of shit. You know what I'm
well, no,
saying?
but Troy, but that's the problem is don't get lost in that stuff. Like the biggest thing, I think that's the problem with a lot of people with astrology is they hyper focus on these like obscure specific things that don't matter until you
Yep.
really have an understanding of astrology. What you need to do, like what anyone needs to do, is like start with the fucking basics. What do the signs mean? What do the planets represent? What do the houses represent? Okay, how do they combine? What does that mean? Start
Yep.
there. Like people get into all this stuff about like debating, like, oh well, house systems and sidereal versus tropical. It's like that's you need to understand that fundamental stuff to even be able to comprehend like why people use sidereal versus tropical, why people have different ideas about house systems. Like otherwise, it's
100%.
just yeah. And so like
Why don't we
okay,
break down sidereal versus tropical for Troy really quick? Because I think that's a really easy one to break
and it's an
down.
easy
Well,
one, but it's a
I
just
mean,
it's
no,
There's a
no,
lot of big words.
I understand the basics of it. It's just that it's a difference of whether you're basing it off of
yeah,
what is in the position of the sky
yeah,
visually, or what is in the position of the sky relative to the precession of the equinox. Correct?
It's season. So
it's
tropical
close.
astrology is based on the starts of the seasons. So the cardinal signs, it doesn't have anything to do with the stars, if
Sorry.
that makes sense. It has to do
The
with
literal stars.
it doesn't have to do with the literal stars. It has to do with Aries starts spring. Like Cancer starts summer. So the summer solstice is the beginning of Cancer,
Cardinal. So it's the initiation
the
of the
initiation. So, and then sidereal is part of it does not, it connects directly to the actual zodiac.
Well, like
So it
what is in the
moves like
sky right
1
now?
degree every like
Yeah,
100 years or something
yeah.
like that, or it's some crazy shit.
So like looking
So,
at the sky right now, that's
So
sidereal.
so
It's
tropical is only split between northern and southern hemisphere then?
well, okay. So in the southern
so
hemisphere, it just is reversed, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Cancer
the seasons.
starts
Yeah.
winter
Yeah.
instead of summer.
How time is measured and broken down a piece. So it depends on where you're starting your count of time. Sidereal is more ancient. Tropical has a different idea of timing, and so it's just about the equinox, and
Solstices, yeah.
the ellipticals, and just sort of when we start counting our shit. And that's the most simplified way I can put it. But the words like elliptical always, when I was starting, would really just blow my mind, and like, okay, can we break it down smaller? But when you're talking about astronomy combining with astrology, there's almost no way to talk about the movement without using confusing language, unfortunately.
Yeah. We should use I mean, it would be good for you to learn the precession of the equinoxes. Just look it up and understand that, because that's the whole age theory. Like we have the Aryan age, like the Aries age, not the Aryan age, sorry, YouTube, but the Aries age,
Come on, man. Start more rumors.
we had the Piscean age, which is like basically, if you think of the Piscean age was 0 AD basically to pretty much now. And that whole age, like if you think about it, the avatar of that age was, I would say, Jesus. I think that's pretty obvious because of all the symbology that's connected with him. Like, I'll make you fishers of men, it's like, and it's all about like sacrifice and connection to the all, it's like
washing the horse.
Thank you, ChatGPT. Sorry, I understand it now. ChatGPT explained it to me. I'm
the
a nerd,
precession of the
so I
equinoxes.
needed to. Well, I actually understand like physics, so as soon as it actually explained what it was like astronomically, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's a wobble.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a wobble basically.
Well, sidereal is based upon not accounting for the wobble, and then the other one is.
Yes.
No, other way around. Sidereal, wait, not accounting for the wobble?
Yeah,
Sidereal
sidereal
accounts
is
for
just
the
what's in the sky above you.
it accounts for the wobble. It takes that into account.
Yeah, you can see with your
It
naked
changes over time. Versus tropical does not take the wobble into account, and it says that
It's
even
set on
though
the 0 Aries point. That's like it's set on that point.
That's what I'm saying. The thing is I started speaking before Mike started talking, so I wasn't referencing what he was saying.
Okay. Well, so yeah.
But I was agreeing with him.
Different signs rise in the eastern horizon on the equinox, the spring equinox, over the course of 26,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's a 26,000 year cycle.
Yeah.
And that's called a great age. Is a 26,000 year cycle, and there's 12 regular ages within the great age.
Yeah. So Troy,
until the
age of Aquarius. You've heard about the age of Aquarius, right? You know all about that.
I mean, it's written by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who
yes,
shares the
thank
same
you.
birthday
Yeah, I
as
knew
me.
you. Okay, see, this is how we connected. Troy, you bring in musicals. Yes,
is in the seventh
that
house.
was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
It's from a musical, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hair, right?
No,
is that Hair? Or?
Jesus Christ Superstar was the first one he wrote. I believe he wrote that when he was in 19.
Hey, the Age of Aquarius song.
That's written by the Fifth Dimension. I don't know if it has anything to do with Jesus Christ Superstar.
That is like I'm.
Look it up.
Hair. It's from Hair.
You're right. It is part of Hair. Not you're right. It's the other musical he wrote. It's part of Hair. My bad.
Thank you.
Andrew Lloyd Webber didn't write it though. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think.
Your kid battle.
Yeah, he did.
Just check it out. Who wrote
Jazz Hands?
Age of Aquarius? Let the sun shine in. It's Fifth Dimension. I don't think that's Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, I love it. But it was in that.
Sorry,
music.
guys.
Anyways,
I've microdosed tonight.
Oh, on what? On what?
Nothing. Oh, I mean,
edit.
Holy, nice.
My bad. I'm wrong.
Congratulations. It's okay,
Got
Troy.
my wires crossed.
It's okay, Troy.
I love that song though. It's a great song.
I was thinking about covering it as like an ASO version. But
They are like, the problem with that song is they're like, when the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars. The moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter is aligning with Mars like all the time. It wasn't like, oh, in the far
but have
future.
peace
If they were like, when
guided the
Pluto's in the
planets
fifth
and have
house,
love steered the stars? I
What
think
kind
not,
of
sir.
alignment? I mean, if the kind of alignment matters, it's positive or negative.
I mean, it
Yeah.
just seems like they were like, we know these words and it sounds really mystical and we're going to put it in the song. I'm
Yes.
saying that it was not actually a prophecy. That's all I'm saying. That's really all I'm saying. I think it was, they should have
What?
used
It's not?
better planets.
Mike.
Maybe
What?
I
when
don't know.
Neptune and Saturn are conjunct in Aries, for
It
example,
sounds,
0
it
point
sounds like a
Aries and
Libra who
20.
just doesn't want the age of
And
Aquarius.
Pluto's in Aquarius and blah blah blah. Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
Oh.
speaking of outer planets, guess what happened, Troy and Katie and Nick?
Oh, I know.
Pluto's a planet again officially.
Oh, I know what happened. I felt
He's
it
been
today too.
accepted. He's
A
been brought
planet
out of the
moved.
cold.
I
Your
felt it this
moon
morning.
is Gemini.
You
So
did?
anyway,
Tell us
what
how
did
you felt it.
do?
I felt it. I just felt and a lot of anxiety and a lot of energy. It was weird. Uranus has been in. I mean, it's my sun's ruling planet. If you, some people just don't take modern rulership into account. I disagree because I fucking felt it and like, yeah, I just felt, and even now I'm just like I feel more I don't know, jazzed up. My brain it feels more lit up. I felt like weird anxiety, but also kind of like energy. I don't know how else to describe it.
Manic. It was manic.
Well, I
That's
spent the
what it
whole
was.
first day of it just torching somebody in a group, so I feel like I was in the energy somehow. I did not feel anxious about it though. I just was like, "Oh God, can this just be over?" But it's almost over,
No,
so that's good.
no, the anxiety was just energy. Energy when you have energy in your mind and you don't channel it into the right things, or you don't understand it, it can lead to anxiety because your brain just kind of goes like, "Whoa, this is too much all at once."
Yeah.
Hmm.
With all
So
the
it's not
Gemini
like
that
it's
I got, I feel you. I second that. I felt it coming in last night. Like I had like maybe about 5.5 hours of sleep total because my brain was running and I got a giant headache. I went to the gym today and I burned some of this extra energy off, and I actually had one of the best workouts I've had in a while. And my brain feels so much better. So I'll put that in as a recommendation. Gemini loves physical workouts. I did upper body because Gemini rules arms. So I was trying to work within the energetic, and I did a release on my trapezius muscle with the barbell. So all high good recommendations if you guys need a little bit of extra love in that area after all this tension, because the mind is very connected with the body.
yes.
With Gemini,
Okay.
we have this twinship, and you cannot deny.
Oh yeah, I
Oh
agree with
yeah.
that completely.
Like even when I have a bad soccer game and we lose like 7-0, I'll like 10 minutes I get off 10 minutes after I get off the soccer field, I'm just like I feel so much better cuz
Yeah.
for 90 minutes I stopped thinking about everything else in the world.
It's good shit. I love physical activity. Thank you, Saturn. Again, Saturn 6 taught me. You move your body,
Yeah,
your brain to be calm. That's what you
going
do.
back to the 6th. Yep.
I
Bad
have
mind.
Saturn in the sixth too. I feel you.
It's a great place.
Exercise, Mike.
I'm losing weight first, and then I'm going to exercise soon.
I
I'm doing
know. Wait.
I'm doing it the other way around.
Yeah.
Yep. I understand how ridiculous that sounded.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah. Good. I'm glad we
No, it
don't have to
doesn't.
spell that out.
yeah,
For
you
you.
don't have to explain why that's
Yeah.
bad. I know why it's bad. It's because I'm a Libra and I'm lazy. I did
No.
want to talk really
No,
quick, if possible, after Troy is done talking about like the last 3 times Uranus has been in Gemini during American history, because I've got that on lock.
for
All
sure,
right.
let's do that. The
Do it.
only thing I was just going to say is
Getting beer.
you lose fat in the kitchen, you gain muscle in the gym. There's some overlap between that, but you know, the easiest way to lose fat is to stop eating. The easiest way to gain muscle is to work out.
I'm in the losing fat phase, and I'm really close to the gaining muscle phase. and I know that I could put them both together, but I have yet to do so.
Just eat whole ingredients, like one ingredient foods, and you'll lose weight faster than you can fucking.
Oh,
I mean, you do drink alcohol, which
Yeah.
will slow down your weight loss process, but like
yeah, that is a problem.
eggs, beef, like healthy fats. Yeah.
I have to hit the head too, so I am going to turn this off for just a second since he's gone.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back.
Break.
You guys can talk amongst yourselves.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
go too.
saying anything.
I've been drinking water this whole time. I'll be right back myself.
Oh, okay. Edit point. Edit.
Edit point. What happened? Where are we going? Where's everyone going?
I had to hit the head. Wait,
Hit
I
the
had
head.
to.
Yeah.
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 I always say I have to take care of, because you got to say, like, you can't just say I need to go take a shit. You got to figure out different ways to say that. And I usually say I need to go use the facilities. That's my
Oops.
Libra way of saying that I need to go
The
use the
facilities.
bathroom, right? I need to
Yeah.
use the facilities. Hit the head is good though too. Hit the head is
Yeah.
actually like, no, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm like
It was so
really
masculine. I don't know why it even popped out of my mouth. I haven't watched any naval movies or anything. Like I just needed to pee. I have no idea why I said it.
Yeah, mine is usually
Hey.
like I need to use the facilities. It feels like the most Libra thing that you can say, right? It's like
Facilities,
So
dude. What?
I
dry.
need to go use the facilities. I need to utilize. I should
Oh
start
my
being like,
God.
I need to go utilize the facilities.
Oh,
So polite.
I know that's too polite. I'd be like, what facilities are you talking about? Yeah, yeah.
Demure.
I just people will be talking and you have to like leave a scene to go do something else, you know? If
Yeah.
I'm with my neighbors and we're
Leave
just
us.
drinking outside, if I'm with my neighbors and we're just drinking outside, I'll just be like, I need to go use the bushes.
Yeah.
And I say it like really butch, you know? But if I'm around mixed company, I'm like, I need to go use the facilities.
I love
I'm
it.
just saying, like, I have different ways to be around different people.
This
Um,
is okay. Are you recording? This is like insight into a Libra so beautifully. Like,
I love it.
no,
I
it
mean,
is.
doesn't
I'm
everybody
not
do
picking
that?
on you.
what do
What?
you say when you say you need to use? Do you just say I need to use the bathroom? That seems very direct and Aries.
Oh, I have like 100 different ways to say that.
Tell us 5 random ones.
I'm like, I'll see you guys in a couple minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty good.
I'm participating in the water cycle. Be right back.
Oh,
Oh, that's good.
Most people don't pick that one up. They go, "What
I
the fuck
like
did
that
he
because
just say?"
I'm
I love
participating
saying
in the
it to
water
people at
cycle.
bars
yeah.
just to
That's
see if
his
they can.
permaculture brain.
Yeah.
He's
I
permaculture.
mean, dude,
Don't
I
bring it
learned
up.
about the water
Oh,
cycle in like
fuck.
what, first grade? First fucking grade, brah. That's where the term came from.
Gotta pee. That's what I say. Gotta pee. Gotta poop.
Gotta poop. Gotta
Gotta
poop.
poop.
That's cute.
Gotta poop.
He does it in a cute way, and it's
Gotta
very
poop.
sudden. That's the Aquarius way.
Poop.
Gotta
Well,
pee. Gotta
I'm
poop.
also a creative
Pee.
person, so I like to just like I don't like to say the same shit over and over and over again. Like if
Oh,
if I find myself being like an NPC where I'm repeating, like even when I'm working retail, I'm always saying something different.
I love my NPC lines. You know, I'm a really good NPC. Like if somebody's like, "How about this weather?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard it's gonna rain." You know, like I'm like, "Yeah, I heard it's coming." You know,
dude.
oh geez, it's hot. You know,
Oh, jeez. Oh,
oh
boy.
geez, you know, oh
Oh,
boy, it's
Hold on.
happening. I love the NPC lines. I don't
yeah.
understand what I understand not liking them, but I don't mind seeming like an NPC to another person
It's funny.
because it's
Oh,
small
I can't.
talk, right?
I
Yeah.
no,
can't. I'm
Like
too
no,
weird. I'm immediately unrelatable. I don't know how to do that. I admire that. I admire the NPC life, but I'm too weird. I can't.
well, like here, let me agree with Mike and get Pisces Mercury for a second. The thing is that like in most people's lives, you aren't going to be really known by people. Like
mhm.
in most people's lives, you get to play a cameo, and even with like some of the people in your friend group, you kind of only see them like you maybe like seen them maybe like 10 times in your whole life, kind of a thing. But you know they're in your friend group and they're friends of friends and they exist and whatever. So it's like sometimes you just being comfortable in that role is also just recognizing the role you play in other people's lives. that sometimes it is only skin deep. And if that's the only way I get to interact with certain people, what's the harm in enjoying that shallow the shallow well it's like the
The
shallow
shallow
pool
end.
shines the
Libra.
shallow pool shines just as bright as the deep one.
Yeah. My sense of it is like, so once I get to know somebody, I get weird really fucking quick. So like that's like the other side of it, right? If I'm like just doing interactions with somebody, like I'm buying a fucking candy bar, which I don't do very often. I'm gonna do NPC shit, you know, because I'm like, I just want to be a normal guy buying this candy bar.
What
They
kind of
don't
candy
need
bar?
like some cute fucking thing from me, you know, like they just want to fucking, they're just trying to get through their workaday world. Let me just buy this candy bar and be polite to this person. And it's always politeness. Like politeness is like probably the key part of NPC. The middle letter is actually stands for polite. You guys didn't know that, but that's true.
Non-polite
Nice,
character. Oh,
polite
nice.
character.
Ah,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway,
Oh,
but when I'm
okay.
like get to know people, I'm like I want a depth sound with them really quickly. If I
And
want
you're
to,
not
I
polite
want to
at
pick
all. Just
what?
kidding. And you're not polite at
No, I'm
all. No.
polite, but I'm like, can this person talk about conspiracy theories? Can this person talk about aliens? Can this person talk about anything besides like cars and sports or fucking what Jenna said at work the other day, you know, like that's like
What
the
did
cars
she
and sports for
what
women, you
did
know, it's
Jenna
like
say at
the
work?
Jenna is constantly she's constantly up everybody's ass, man. I think that the regional director is putting pressure on her, you know, and she's trying to like suddenly be a hard ass, and it doesn't fit for Jenna, but she's doing it anyway.
Is
That's
she a
like what you'd say.
Jenna? Is she a Gemini? Can't even get it out.
Gemini,
It
Gemini.
was a stretch. We'll give you that one.
Uranus is in Gemini. Wait,
I was trying to bring it
Gem.
back.
Yeah, it was
I'll
good.
give you an example of how my Gemini works. Like as far as being an NPC goes, this is a great little example of immediately this is somebody's first meeting of me, right? I used to work at this gym and I would clean 10,000 square feet. Sometimes, most of the time, I'd be there by myself, and a lot of times, somebody new that has never seen me before would walk in. I would have this routine with the crows on Sunday mornings, where I would feed them peanuts, and
Nice.
so I would come in very, very like 3, 4, 5 in the morning, depending on how early I woke up, and so I would be in the parking lot, and the peanuts would be out there, and I'd be able to watch. We had it packed, right? So then somebody would come in and ask me like what the gym hours were because I had the sauna disabled because I was cleaning it. So I would rattle off all this shit to them like. I clean early in the morning because I have a pact with the crows and I also have to clean the sauna when nobody's going to be here. And they'd be like,
That doesn't answer my question at all.
You're like, anyway, what are the hours? This is not the correct script response. So you know. What I was looking for was like, do you open at 10? But that's
No.
cool as shit, dude.
I would answer it the right way the second time after I saw the confusion on their face. But for some reason, my brain I was homeschooled. So for some reason, social cues don't come first sometimes. I'm too authentic and I'll just come off like, I have a pact with the crows. I have to be here early in the morning. Like,
I get that. I mean, if
I
somebody
relate.
like, okay.
if somebody
What
goes
the?
off script, I go off script with them. That's like kind of how I go. So if I'm having a normal interaction and somebody's like, "Oh my god, uh did you hear about this?" you know, and then they like try to tell me about something, then I'll go right off script with them because it's fun to go off script with
Sure.
people, but it's like you're just the weird person. And I have such
Yeah.
ritual stuff, you know, I like do the same fucking thing kind of every day at work. I sit in a warehouse, sometimes I go get coffee, and sometimes I have a good conversation with the people at the coffee shop if it's like slow and they're like interested in having a conversation. Sometimes it's interesting, but mostly it's like, oh, you know what I'm having, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Oh, yeah, you're the mocha guy. Okay. Well, yeah. Do you want it iced today? Yes, I want it iced today. Of
You're the
course. It's
mocha
so hot out.
jamocha.
Um, I'm saying like there's just this normal thing that goes back and forth, but sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, I say something," and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go. I just inherited this house from my grandpa, and we're gonna go for this holiday because I'm super excited
Specific.
about it." And then I'm like, "Oh my God, I can talk to you about something real, and it's great, and I love doing that." But in general, people don't want you talking about shit that's like outside of their.
Oh yeah.
They have to start it. I think that's a Libra thing.
I was
When
gonna say
somebody opens,
you put it on them to. That's what it sounds like. Is you put it on them. You don't initiate the weird. You let the
yeah.
weird happen, and then you jump in. It sounds like.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I can match that. This is
Yeah,
easy energy to match. And I think that
yeah,
that's a part of Libra is just mirroring the
yeah. It
energy of
is.
the people around you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
which,
I mean, I'm such a
kind
Gemini,
of.
and I mean, I get into Libra is probably the most mysterious because I have, Jupiter Aquarius. I have a large 11th house. Basically all my asteroids, important ones anyway, are in Aries 11th. So I have this lone wolf, unique, weird Uranian quality because I have that trine to Uranus with my Mercury and Venus. Like, there's no getting away from that weird. She just doesn't quite fit in a box. She's just, and I don't know how to be. I don't know how to pretend to be NPC. I love watching people NPC because it's just like, how do you I'll try to copy it sometimes, and I'll be like, I remember the trick, but I don't know. It's just like it's always a mask. So I do appreciate it's
Well,
just a valuable. We need y'all. We need y'all doing that shit. But it's nice to know you
in
have.
short, before Nick says it's you're gonna feel a lot of that socialization and that small talk. Also, it's much more of a sacral energy. It's a very much a body energy that you're communicating with people in, and it's not an up here thing. It's a
Mm,
down here thing. It's a very much
yeah.
like somebody said to me is like small talk is more like bebop jazz, where somebody goes "Ba-da-ba," and somebody goes and somebody else goes and somebody else goes "Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da."
And then Katie
And that's
comes in and
really
goes,
that's what fucking small talk is.
yeah.
Well, that's fun. I mean, it is pretty fun. I mean, it's sad if you would like to be having something like. It's only sad if you're like, oh my God, this is all I've had for like months.
Yeah.
If like your normal talk is like nothing is challenging, nothing is like interesting.
Never.
It sucks real bad. So it's like
I'd rather not
yeah.
talk at all than have those types of conversations only. I'd rather have a vow of silence.
What? Why haven't you embraced your weird? Like looking at your chart, like have you embraced your weird? Because you have no other options. Like this is something I struggle with being an Aquarius sun.
We're
Like
at the edge here, man. What?
You have no other you are fated to be weird.
it's
I
in a way it's kind of true though, and in a way it benefits you if you have Jupiter
Yep.
in Aquarius. You have a
What do you
bunch of
mean? Why
11th
haven't
house
I embraced it? What do you mean?
Okay, no, yeah, I take that
What do
back.
you mean?
No, I take that back. I take that
She
back.
like reads cards
Well,
Yeah,
in
no,
our
sorry,
group and
Yeah,
I
no,
have
yeah,
a
no.
yeah.
it's about
Hold on.
woo shit. I think
Hold
that
Yeah,
on. No,
okay,
no, no.
okay,
we've been
okay,
No,
there.
okay.
no. Like
like I
let no
can't have a
let
normal conversation. What do you mean?
let
Sorry,
let
I'm
let
sorry,
me
I'm
let me
sorry.
this is
I'm
what
just encouraging.
I think that Nick was saying is essentially that for you to connect on that level is also just to embrace your weirdness to another level. So if you're going to take on an NPC mode, you are the fucking weird NPC cuz we played those games you come up and they're like, "Oh, bobbles and bits, my friend."
Yeah.
Yes,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
guess that's
Like,
me.
you know what I'm saying? Like
I'm
Bubbles
bobbles
and
a
bits,
bit.
bubbles and bits.
like
Hey, show
Show
title.
title for sure.
Yeah,
That's what I was
bubbles
thinking.
and bits.
I suppose
but
that's me. I mean, if you
so
look at my social media, at anything that I've ever created over since 2018, right? You can go back over you'll see I've done a little bit of everything, and it's all like I can't sit there and have people watching me every second of the day. Like a Leo Skeppy. I love how Leo Skeppy does his social media, and I would love to be that personable, but I'm an MC Aquarius. I have to show you what I'm interested in. I have to be able to go away and come back and lone wolf and then bring back information. And it's going to be fun facts and topsy-turvy info because it's going to come through a Gemini, like Mercury, Aries, like filter. And there's a lot of hyper intelligence with it, and people are not ready for that.
Well, but hold on. But people are more ready for that than you think. All you have to do is, but hold on. All you have to do is basically put it in a short enough form that's digestible for them.
I'm working on that.
I'm a Pisces Mercury. I can go long-winded forever, but if I can't put it in 2 sentences, people won't listen.
I would love to I don't know. My social media is wild as far as the algorithm goes. It does not, literally only just now, I've only, like, since March I started to go viral on Instagram, but I've been working at it so long, but it has never known where to peg me. Everybody's like, what's your niche? And I'm like, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm selling my personality basically, but my gifts are spiritual gifts, and I give the best spiritual pep talks anybody could ever want. But how do you put that in a nutshell? I help people think outside the box in ways they could never glue together. I am so, like, how do you market Uranian though? Like, so all I can do is show you what I am on a very vulnerable basis and be as weird as possible and stay on brand with my integrity and be that childlike figure, but also divine feminine embodiment, trying to figure out what it's like to be a woman after my mom tried to raise me as a boy. But also the fact that one of my big things that I love to talk about in my social media is my mom did not love me. And once I embraced that shit, I stopped self-destructing in my 12th house. That my moon Chiron thing is such a big thing in my chart with Saturn opposite, like, but trying to break that down into a keynote is one of the things I'm working on, because I feel like that would be a really powerful way to come at people. Like, I was not shown love. I was an accident. She was telling me I should have been aborted.
Jesus.
Like, I was not welcome in the household, but it's a gift.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
gift.
terrible.
It's a gift.
Yeah, it is.
You summed it up really well.
So
wounds are your greatest wounds are your greatest gifts. I've known that for quite a while, but it's hard to like really feel that sometimes, because it's like your greatest wounds have such a psychic impact on you, right? So they often are the things that are playing out behavior. I'm not saying that you haven't healed it completely. I believe you have. But I've noticed my own wounds, like, when I really go through them, when I really like actually sit with them, feel them, recognize them.
It hurts always.
What?
Trauma doesn't know time. Trauma has no sense of time. If you go there mentally, your physiological, your body thinks you're reliving it. So it doesn't matter how much you've healed. Your traumas can slingshot you right back into the moment of impact at the very moment's notice. But it's climbing out of that and doing it with panache and style that makes somebody a good healer or not, and helping other people realize it doesn't have to be that serious. So fucking what? You're dealing with some shit. You're bigger than that. You can choose to let it fucking get you or not. Like, that's part of what my brand is like, look how bad
suffering is a choice. Yeah.
Like, exactly. Back to my Saturn return lesson. Suffering's a choice. So that's where I talk about in my Substack. That's what I talk about in every single podcast I've ever had. You know, like, I really wish I didn't have to sacrifice my second podcast, because I really wanted to have a second season, but it logged me out. There was a email relay issue, and I can't log back into it. But my third one's doing really good. I'm just having to get my momentum with it again. But I talk about shit.
Well,
what is it, so that
plug
people
your
can
stuff?
look it up?
Yeah, plug your stuff. Go.
Oh yeah, please.
Troy, put it in the bottom in the description.
Well, my first podcast was Serum for the Soul. It was me and my buddy Megan. She was my partner for a while on YouTube, and if you go back far enough, you'll see me and her doing readings together. She's a Taurus Libra. I'm a Aries Gemini. We had some fun. And so that was Serum from the Soul, and then I had Spirituality with Messel by Katie Shasky. I loved that podcast. Super dear to my heart. I had some really great Bible delineations with astrology and psychology and all this shit that you can tie together. I might weave some of that into my new podcast, which is Maintaining Velocity. with Katie Shasky.
All
So
right, maintaining velocity. That's the new one.
Velocity is my most recent one, and
That's
they're
good.
all full of my like. I can't shut up. I'm a double Gemini. It's how I process my emotions. It's got to go somewhere, otherwise the people around me are get exhausted.
Respect.
So that's what I do. I'm going to talk whether or not I get money for it. I've just recently went viral on Instagram with Sui Generis Regenerate, and I'm not getting any monetization money for it yet. Like there's no partnerships, there's no nothing. It's just a labor of love and being available for my clients out of the actual love of service, because that's my North Node. I'm really passionate about being a minister and helping people get out of a deep hole. You have so much power. People have no idea how much strength they have within that 12th house. Anything that they're not seeing, they need somebody to help them see it. And that's what I'm good at that, and helping people break ties if they don't know their head from their ass, like they just need, somebody to like shock them out of shit, or hold their hand, or just be present. Like I don't know. I really love this work. I'm so on fire for it. I can't shut up.
No. It sounds like you do know your niche. So it sounds like you. I mean, maybe
Everybody.
No. It sounds. Well, no, but it sounds you have a very clear idea of your skills, your talents, what you want to do. It might not feel that way to you, but it's very clear when you say it. So just
hard to
rewatch this part, and yeah,
I haven't
you
been able to put it somewhere in a bio yet. Put it like, I don't know. Maybe one more conversation with Chat GPT, and it'll help me reflect myself back to myself.
no, it's very clear. Like it sounds like you have a really clear idea of what you
I
want to
love
do.
it.
So it's not as like all over the place or like too broad like what you're thinking. It's very clear, and like
Missionary.
I think
Like my
go with that.
I think I have that same kind of energy, actually, Katie. I think that I have a missionary energy. I'm trying to like teach people about astrology. I think that it's like it is a tool for self-analysis. It's a tool for understanding historical cycles. It's a language. Everybody can learn it, and it teaches you archetypes. It gets you into mythology. It like brings you into all these aspects. What?
Every day is sacred, and that's something astrology taught me, is like every moment has something holy in it, and it's not just something to waste.
Yeah. Well, it's like, think about the way that astrology thinks about time, and think about the way that we think about time as normal humans, right? Normal humans think about time, it's like it's a bummer, kind of, right? Time is like this shitty thing because we got to trade our fucking time for dollars, right? Like it's like time is money, time is this limited thing. It's like this almost oppressive thing, I think, in our culture. It's like all very clearly delineated, but when you look at time from the perspective of like the moon moving through the signs, you look at time through the perspective of Mercury moving through the signs, you start to realize that time is this really alive thing, the moment is all of this different energy that's interacting with itself for the whole world, and then it's also interacting with you because you were born with this specific fucking energy of the time that you were born. It's like that's what a natal chart is. It's like condensation of the energies that were on this earth when you were born. And that is real time. I feel like this is something that like I need to be able to figure out how to teach, because I think that it's what needs to be taught from me, is that astrology is a pattern language that teaches you to link yourself with natural time. And if you link yourself with natural time, you don't get surprised. It's harder to suffer. Like, if that makes any sense, it is harder to suffer because you're like, I could be like super bummed that this fucking bee stung, because I was drinking a beer and a bee stung me on the inside of the lip the other day, like right here, and it was in my bottle. So I was drinking the beer and I felt something hit my teeth and I was like, puh, you know. and it was like a hornet that had gotten inside my mouth, stung me like exactly center, right in the middle of my lip. And I was kind of annoyed, but I was a little bit drunk too. I got to be honest. And I was like kind of laughing a little bit, but also the hornet was at the bottom of my beer, and I drowned it in my beer. I was like, "You hurt me, so I'm going to be a Scorpio, and I'm going to get you back." So I drowned it, but I think it sent out distress signals, and I got stung a couple times on the other places that night, which I
Oh,
found out later. This has
On your
nothing to
cock?
do with the story.
On your
I'm
cock. You got stung on your cock, didn't you? Other
No, I
places?
didn't get. I got stung on my knee and on my
Oh.
ankle a couple times. Um, so it sucked. It was not super great to be stung all that many times. But what was really funny about it is I already have pretty big lips, and my bottom lip was like it was bee stung. It was like this beautiful, like very full bottom lip, and I was like, it kind of was numb and like stung a little bit over the course of the night, but it was like not too bad. There's actually not a lot of if you pinch your lip, there's not a ton of nerves in it,
like,
you know,
it
and
depends.
not a ton. But anyway, it was like right during my Saturn Mars conjunction in Virgo. So I was like, this is my Saturn Mars conjunction in Virgo. Okay, I guess this is what's happening. So I wasn't like, I'm so mad that this bad thing happened to me. I was more like amused that I got stung on the middle in the. And I was like, what is this message? This is a message from the universe. I don't know what it is. Maybe I need lip filler. No, I'm just kidding. I don't need lip filler.
The
But
way I liken
That's interesting.
astrology, like the not having the backup of astrology, just knowing the basis of how it works. It's like when your parents give you a directive and it feels so unfair and you don't understand why and they won't explain versus having them sit there and go through it. As an Aries, you want to know why you're being told to do something. You want to intellectually understand so you can understand A, to do it right, B, what attitude to do it with, and how you can show up fully and be a warrior with it, right? So not knowing those things always really bothered me. So astrology is like, religion's very mysterious. Parent being taught what to do by a parent can be very mysterious because sometimes they don't even know why they're having you do what they're doing. But astrology is always very clear, and even if you don't know it in the moment, you can go back and look at the math and be like,
oh, that's what was going on. Yeah,
more power.
it
More
is.
Oh
It
yeah.
is an empowerment potential. There's so much that you can get from it.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think it's amazing. It's like basically like I'm not gonna say it's the love of my life because that's rude to people, but it is like the
What?
Thanks. Thanks.
right. But I am gonna say that it is like the thing that I've always gone back to, and it's this thing that I
The passion of your
am
life.
endlessly interested in. It's like, especially like for me, like everybody gets into astrology and they usually get into a subfield and they get really interested in the subfield. My subfield is just the cycles of history. I love thinking about like, okay, so now we've got Uranus and Gemini, we've got Neptune in Aries, we've got
Good
Saturn in
segue.
Aries, we've got Pluto in Aquarius. We've got this entirely new outer planet, basically field that we're living on. And we've all felt like the changes that have been happening since like last November when Pluto moved into Aquarius. And we all felt it when Saturn and Neptune moved into Aries. And we're feeling it right now that is moving in Gemini. But all of those are going to be working together very soon, like it's like late December of this year, early January to February. All of those are going to be in like, so you'll have the trine between Gemini and Pluto. And then you'll have that sextiling Saturn and um
Neptune.
you'll have that Saturn and Neptune. So all of the outer planets are going to be in this very nice configuration. And what I've been doing lately is like looking at what that did in the past, like looking at past cycles and how that played out in the US especially. And I'm very US centric because I live in the US. It's not because I'm like USA #1, although it is. But you know, it's not because of that. But it's like this is where I live. There's a lot of are you gonna be French about this or Canadian?
I'm
Um
gonna be British about this. Fuck
No,
you,
so
Yanks.
Troy, what do you think the best country on earth is right now?
I mean, USA, baby. But
Israel.
I'm obviously
That was a joke.
They might be the most
yes,
powerful for being so
master.
small. I mean, you got to say
Yeah,
that Israel is doing a pretty good job
that was a
at
joke.
being powerful.
I
Yeah.
mean, despite
It's true.
all the flaws of this country, it still enables more freedoms than any other country on the planet. And we do have lots of flaws that we need to improve, but you know what? There's no fucking perfect people. There's no fucking perfect countries, you know.
True. I think I'm very happy that we're like one of the last countries that has more guns than people. And I know that most people don't think that that's good, but I think it's great. I think that like people are like, why do you need all that for hunting? It's not for hunting. It's because eventually Palantir is going to try to kill a bunch of us, and we've got to be able to like fucking do something about it.
God.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like we
Uh,
have to.
maybe. Maybe I know
Yeah,
what you're saying.
we gotta
Maybe.
get some drones.
I like guns. I have
Hey,
That's unexpected.
I
That's unexpected. Yeah.
why? She's an Aries.
True. True.
I'm not a handgun girl. I'm a country girl, though. I was raised
Women
rural. I
are
was
not
homeschooled.
okay.
I've shot a few rifles, and I'm really good at it.
Nice.
And I've done archery. I like
Fuck
guns.
yeah.
I'm
Cool.
all,
We're
all,
gonna
all
call you Katie Oakley from now on.
I used to call myself that, so you might as well.
Oh wait, that was your own nickname for yourself? That's fucking great. Hold it
I mean,
out in the
Uh,
ether.
it's
I
funny because I'm supposed
or
to be
you're
right
just
handed, but I
remembering her
shoot
saying
with
it
my
from
left.
years ago.
She's never said that to me. I guarantee it. You've never said that to me, have you, Katie?
That's
No.
something I don't even talk about
Yeah.
any of those talents. It's just nobody ever hears that shit. But yeah, no, I
Mhm.
shoot left-handed.
oh no. Oh.
Oh shit. That's pretty cool.
I'm cross dominant.
Do you know that left-handed used to be called sinister? Like
Yeah.
people that were left-handed were sinister. Do you know why they were called like why sinister got the negative connotations?
Because the idle hand with the devil and it's or the devil association or some
Nope.
sort of.
It's simpler than that. Knights would shake hands where you'd grasp
Oh,
each other's forearms with the right hand.
yeah.
So a left-hander, because you would be like their dominant hand is in my hand, they can't do anything bad to me, right? But a left-hander can fucking fuck
Shoot.
you up. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you were in that spot where you were like
That makes
you
sense.
thought they were weaker. So I don't think that left-handers are evil. Just so you know, I'm just telling you that.
No, I'm not a left-hander. I'm cross dominant.
What does that mean? You're both-hander?
I write. I do most things with my right hand. I can write with my left hand as well, legibly. I can push vacuums with my left and right hand. I can do everything with my left that I can do with my right. Only my left hand is just a little bit weaker, and it's not my first go-to when it comes to handwriting. But when it comes to lining things up with my sight, shooting, being accurate, I pick things up. I bear a lot of weight with my left hand. I tend to do
The
things.
bats left.
I'm very my I use both sides of
can't-
my I'm cross dominant. My brain does this.
That feels Gemini to me too, actually. That feels like a very Gemini trait.
Is it the
Like
same with your feet? Do you kick at all?
You know, it's been so
you
long since
cannot kick
I
it.
played anything like soccer or kickball. I can tell you this: when I did play, I got injured a lot because the kid. You know what? I was kicking with my left foot because 3 kids kicked my left foot one time in 4th grade, and that was the worst ankle injury I've ever had, and it's never been the same. But we were playing soccer, and I was using my left foot. So it's been so long though since I played any sports like that. But I can say, yeah, that day I was using my left foot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know I've damaged my right side so many times, both hands and feet, that like I've become almost ambidextrous on many tasks. Like
Mm,
I
Really?
can use a hammer, I can like
yeah,
I had to learn to brush with my teeth with my left hand, you know, and such like that. And it's
makes
weird
sense.
because it's like brushing your teeth is like one of the like weirdest, it was the hardest thing for me to learn with my left hand.
I do it.
Just because it takes just the right amount of finesse,
Yeah,
because you have to actually like get into specific spots in there, you know. It's just
dexterity.
like, well,
Yeah,
and it's muscles that you basically use for nothing else,
yeah.
you know. Like
Oh, yeah.
you know, because other most of the other time I'm using those muscles, even if I'm doing using a tool, it's to grip and rotate most of the time. It's transferring force usually from my shoulder, you know.
Well, so I'm a girl. I can paint both hands and make really good designs on both hands and make it look really good. It doesn't. I can do fine detailing. So that's something I can do is when it comes to art, I can use it for everything. So
Yeah.
I'm very sneaky sometimes. People don't understand why what I'm doing because they're like, they're watching me move, but they don't really they don't know what's going on with me like that. Like, so I'm just awkward in every fucking way. My
Yeah.
what do you call it? Creation or perception, where your sensation of space, where you stand in space, per reception.
Proprioception or whatever. Yeah, I know
That's
what you're
a
talking.
hard word to say.
It
Proprioception.
is. It is. It's,
I'm really bad at that for
yeah.
having the cross dominance. I'm always injuring myself because I'm bumping into things because I just don't know where I am in space and time.
I'm super good at knowing where I am in space and time. Um, I don't know why that is. I'm very right dominant, and my left hand is like basically like it's the retarded stepbrother of my arms. You know, it's like not very good at doing anything. Um, it right now it's holding a phone. It's good at that. You know, like but it's not drinking the beer. You know what I'm saying? If I was trying to drink the beer with my left hand and hold the phone with my right hand, let's check it out. I'm a little bit worried.
I believe in
Wait,
you.
I guess I can still do that.
Well,
It's
I'm
not too
also a
close.
musician, so like I use my left hand to play bass for 20 years and I've been playing keyboard a little bit. So it's just like I'm used to using my left hand and my right hand like all the time.
It's
What
just
about you, Nick? Are you like really right dominant, or are you really are you more ambidextrous?
Are you left or right hand dominant when you use the controller, Nick?
The controller is both. I bat and golf lefty. I write with my right hand, and I
Wait, you
jerk off with
bat
both.
lefty?
Yeah, bat and golf lefty. Yeah.
That seems Uranian more than Gemini then. Because I do everything right.
Oh, I write with my right hand. I can't write with my left hand, but I bat and golf. I can only do it this way. I can't do it this way. It feels weird. So
Hmm.
yeah.
No, I was just talking with somebody else the other day, and it's same thing with some people for their fighting styles. They'll be right dominant with everything, but they want to fight right side forward rather than left side forward.
Yo,
You know,
homie,
and
some
it's just like,
Love you guys.
okay, sure, if it works for you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. The brain's wired weird, and how it
mm,
reflects in the body. Yeah.
well, and also I think a lot of it also has to probably do with previous experiences that are not necessarily properly accounted for because we all have blind spots.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I remember going back to when I was a little kid when I first started like t-ball. I picked up the bat, and my initial instinct was to go to the left side and bat that way. So like, I mean, there's no like experience of like, oh, this is the wrong way. I got to go this way. It was just it felt natural to go that way. So I think there's is something with like, your brain. I mean, okay, so I was born deaf in my right ear, so maybe that has something to do with it. Because that, like, I know, like the whole cross brain thing, where like your
yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with it. But other than that, I have no idea. Because like I think that some things are just wired from birth. So like I mean, there's no explanation other than just that's just the way you are. So
Like I write with my right hand, so that was my first instinct. I've developed, because I've tested so many times with my left hand the ability to write. But one of the times my mom realized I was cross dominant, besides looking up in a little viewfinder as a kid, lining it up with my left eye instead of my right eye, was eating. Like, she caught me, I was eating cereal or breakfast or something with my left hand. She's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
I'm
eating?
eating.
Like, there's a wrong way to eat, so she's just like, aren't you right-handed? Like, I don't know, I'm just eating.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Scrambled eggs.
Can I do a little experiment and then ask a question at the end?
Why not?
Maybe.
Okay, this is a very short experiment. Basically, when Uranus was in Gemini, the first time in U.S. history was 1774 to 1781.
Okay.
So in that time, we were in the midst of, well, getting really close to the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Um, you know, that was when we were like the colonists against the Americans, right? So the U.S. was kind of split in and of itself. We were using broadsheets to communicate at that time, which was like proto memes. Um, and like putting up like pamphlets and shit. And there was tons of like whisper networks that were happening for the loyalists and for the revolutionaries. The next time it came through was 1858 to 1865, which is right during the Civil War. So that's the next time it happened. And that was like another division of the people. It was North versus South. It was the beginning. So Uranus is always connected with new technology. It was the first one that had pictures taken because photography was invented during the Civil War, basically, like right around that era. The telegraph was how information was sent to like different people. So there was a big technological leap. It was like a war where people in like a state over from where the war was happening could hear about what happened like in 4 hours instead of like when the first messenger got there, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
The next time it happened was 1942 to 1949. So that's during like the end of World War II, the beginning of the Cold War. So there's like the Allies versus the Axis.
Well,
That's the first
41,
outward focused
the war was already
duo.
going on, but the U.S. wasn't in it yet.
The U.S. was in well, Pearl Harbor was bombed like 6 months before Uranus went into Gemini. Um, so it was like the war was happening. We were actually in it like when it first entered. Um, but
Okay.
anyway, that doesn't really matter. That was the first like real propaganda war. That was the first like centralized messaging, and it was also the beginning of the Cold War, and that was another U.S. in fighting itself, right? Where we were rooting out the fucking commies. It was McCarthyism, like all that shit that started coming up. The Cold War started right after World War II. So my question for you, for each of you, we're entering another era. How is the U.S. going to split again, and what are the sides going to be
It's
Go
for
going to
for
this
be
it,
next
guys.
era?
ideological. Well, right now, the biggest things that are coming essentially like it's really like oversimplification, but people who want reality to be a certain way and people who are making do with what reality is. And that is what I see the fundamental difference in the political consciousness and the worldviews of those people more so than anything else right now. Because there's the people who want
So
the
how are we
concept.
going to be split? How would that play out in a battle? Because it's always been a battle in
Well, the thing
history.
is,
So what do you think the
we don't have those. We don't have those. there's going to be certain points and certain things that are going to divide people, and every time that happens, people are going to have to make a decision, not just about what they think is true in reality, but who they want to be and the kind of path they want to take down. Most people are going to be operating out of fear, because like I it's the same thing. I grew up doing martial arts, and if you're not trained like to overcome your fear and put in that environment, most people just can't snap through it unless they have some clarifying thing in their life. But even if people are acting in something like for their kids or on a higher principle, most people, like, it's really prone to fall into those fear states, unless you've like devoted a lot of your life to those other ways of thinking and those principles that you can't abandon.
What about you, Nick? What do you think? What
I
do you
don't
think the
think
split's going to be?
I don't think it's going to be a split in the same way. I think we're already seeing the split, but I don't think it's going to be. I think the split will be like. I think I don't think it's going to be the same. I don't think it's going to follow the same pattern, in the sense that, like, I don't think there's going to be like an obvious, like, us versus them, this side versus that side. I mean, we've already seen the split of, like, I mean, the obvious ones of, like, the
Dems and the
strengthening.
Republicans or whatever. They
Yeah,
like,
yeah, just
yeah,
basic, like, how people see the world, what they value, what they want. Yes, we see rhetoric, we see propaganda, we see, manipulation on whatever side you're talking about. But I don't think there's going to be a battle in the sense. I think it's an intellectual battle, but I think what's the difference is it's going to be a battle for, like, people internally, how they, like, the battle has always been outside, but, like, I think this time it's going to be more inside and how people perceive, because people are going to things. Yeah, I think that it's not going to be like, and I can't predict right now what it would be, because I think that, like, I don't have that like, I don't have that clear idea of what it is, so I don't want to try to explain it. But, like,
okay, fair
I
enough.
don't I don't think it's going to be a battle between, like, oh, like, the this versus that, because that's already been happening. So it's kind of just like, well, that's going to keep happening, but it's also people are kind of just like eye rolling with that at this point.
People are kind of tired of that shit, aren't
Yeah,
they? Yeah,
yeah. So I
both
think
sides actually.
yeah,
I think.
Well, it's the
it's going to be
polarity of
more.
the outside stuff is going to cause more people to be woken up inside it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, exactly. It's like, it's people are gonna. I mean, if we're talking about Gemini, like, that duality happens inside the mind, and, like, you either can go, you swing to one side and you project out the other, or you swing to the other side and you project out the other onto another person or another group or whatever, or you figure out that duality inside yourself, and then you realize, like, and so I think there's something with that where, like, people are gonna, it's gonna click for people that, like, yeah, that it's not internal versus external, this versus that, us versus them, any of that type of thing. It's going to be more people will, and I don't know about those previous dates that you talked about, but, like, with the outer planet support, like, I know with during World War II, it was Pluto was in Leo, so there might have been like an S sextile there. Although I don't know if it
Well,
was.
Pluto was in Aquarius during the first one too, right? So,
Yeah,
um, yeah. So
but
during the first one, Pluto, because we had our Pluto return late Capricorn,
yeah,
1776, so it moved into Aquarius during
yeah,
that
but
transit too.
each one of those things that you brought up, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War II, all of those are not what we think they are on face value. Like, there
Yeah,
was a lot of it, like, the story we have about each of those periods of history is not what was really happening. It wasn't why it happened. Like, there was so much more manipulation and influence happening behind the scenes. There was a lot of factors that were just kind of erased from, not erased, but just kind of forgotten in history to tell the story of the specific thing that happened. So, like, I think that now in this current age, we have the ability to access the information, because you kept bringing up the technology changes. So, like, during World War II, like, I think it was World War II or Civil War, the telegraph got invented, so people were able to
yeah,
send a message quickly to. But now we're at a point where it's like there was these stages of, like, information and the picture being spread to people. But now we're at a point where people have the internet, people have instant communication. It's not the same. And I think that that's a big, I think that's the important part of it is like the ability to perceive the thing as it's happening, how well we can perceive it. So, like, if you're just given certain pictures of a war, then yeah, you're going to perceive it a certain way. If you're given pictures plus be able to communicate with the people involved, be able to research all the stuff, to be, I mean, the more you have, the more the
A
mind
full
can,
picture you get of it, and you can't
yeah,
really shut it down with propaganda at a certain point too.
exactly. And
Yeah,
we're
which is kind of
like,
crazy.
yeah, and I hate to be cliche, but we're at that point, like in our current time. And I'm not saying that there's not like censorship, there's not propaganda. I'm saying, but there's enough people now, like the masses are able to really learn and take in the information and like figure it out for themselves versus just being fed information through these like small channels of like like oh like and like World War II was big on like the news painted the picture, like the news media
Yeah.
painted the picture, like
And all of Hollywood helped them too, if
yes,
you think
yes, yes,
about
yes,
it, because you
exactly,
had like
yes,
racist like fucking cartoons of Donald Duck and shit, and like
yeah,
Yeah.
there was like really bad Japanese stereotypes that they try to hide all that shit now, but that was
yeah,
part of the war effort. Like
yeah,
people don't even realize that, oh, they were so racist back then. Legitimately, they were trying to make us hate this certain
yeah,
other people so that we would go and fight them, right? So it's,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I wasn't trying to jump in your
No, no,
spot. I
no.
was just
But no, no, you're
responding.
right. And that's exactly the point is like nowadays though, like we can go like, well, no, I can go talk to these people. Like no one could just like it was not easy for a majority of people to fly to Japan and go talk to those people or
Yeah.
communicate with them on a very direct, like quick level. Whereas now it's completely different. And like, and I'm not like the cliche is like, oh, well, modern times is blah blah blah. But it really, we don't really give the internet age and the communication age that we're in now enough credit. And I think that that's where it isn't going to be the same as those other times because it's, and I don't know necessarily how to predict what will be, but I do think that it's people are, and I know Gemini, like the sign of Gemini is about taking in information, weighing it, not weighing it like in a Libra sense, but like, you know, rationalizing things. Like you have to like, it's that duality thing where you go like, oh, it's either this or this. No,
There's
okay, it's this.
polarization with
Is this or
Gemini
this?
that's different
Yeah,
than Libra. So
yeah,
Libra
Well,
sees the poles and it's trying to be like, what's the actual balance between these
yeah,
poles? Whereas Gemini is not concerned about the balance between the poles. They're like, wow, these poles are crazy.
yeah.
And they're
But like
investigating the poles.
exactly, they're investigating and they're trying to take in the information and find some
Yeah.
kind of use. Like it's the Gemini Sagittarius axis is about
Input
learning.
output.
Yes, and so like there is some level of like people like the masses are able to take in information quickly, and that's what I mean where it's an internal thing because it's like people are processing information and more so than just that receptive like okay tell me news media tell me whatever tell me small newspaper whatever it
yeah.
is in the past, whereas now it's like people are processing these things individually on their own in mass, and it's going to completely change how this next cycle happens, I guess is my point. So I'm done
Well,
Yeah.
because
talking it.
So it's less
like
likely that
when
we're
you
going
look
to
at the
come to blows,
well,
is what
Absolutely.
you're saying,
when
Yes.
you
because
look at these
it's happening on a mental level.
Yes.
when you look at these points in history, a lot of people in the historical context, especially when you're stuck in the ego, all you're doing is you're saying upheaval points, but what you're really seeing is like you're seeing the you're seeing higher principles and higher frequency consciousness emerging out and becoming dominant. And at that time, the only way you could do that is by being violent. The thing is nowadays we have the ability to essentially meme our reality into existence.
Memes win World War III. This has been one of my main
Well, it's
It's
beliefs
World
for
War
true.
a
Meme.
while. It's a true thing
It's true.
because you can take away their ability to even want to fight it. But Katie, do you got an answer
Yes,
for us?
I have, and I can't wait to actually sit here and open this up because I'm really excited about it. Whew, okay, so
Can opener.
I've been saying this for a few years. What? Oh
That
yeah,
was my
John
can
can
opener. You said, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just, I was trying to build you up, not interrupt you.
I got you. It's I've been saying this for a few years. I've been posting about this on Threads. I've been getting strong hits about Pluto and Aquarius itself and the future in general. So I started as soon as but I think as I sit on it, and the more the other astrology pops up and reveals itself, and things fall together, and I start to really see how things fall together in the future in my spirit. Um, this is in the Bible where it says the first shall be last and the last shall be first. We're also going, I think the division is with transhumanism, where people don't want to be in their human bodies anymore and they're uploading their minds to a different system. I think people
Putting
are,
the chip in their brain, for example.
it's
Yeah.
ghost in the shell. We're going to be, there's going to be people dipping out of the human experience and people trying to
Interesting.
cling to it. There's going to be a lot of focus on natural resources because it's going to relieve natural resources and be attempt for people to be living in these cyborg partial bodies and having an uploaded experience, because it will sort of be a preserving the earth kind of rhetoric for propaganda. um, it's it's about AI and how we identify that as human and or not. There's going to be a spiritual aspect to that, where I believe it's going to be a third entity on this planet in and of itself that we're going to have to give rights to, and we're going to have a lot of fights over that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest resources we're going to be fighting over is water. Period. That's
Yeah.
something I've had a hit on my entire life, and there's a lot of reasons for that I won't get into. But
Do you think that's coming in Pluto and Pisces, or do you think that's going to
no,
happen?
it's happening. It's happening with these outer planets. I think the groundwork has already been laid, and we're going to see these things come out with transhumanism and Uranus and Gemini, and trying to define what human means and what technology means at this point, because it's going to become seamless with people uploading their identities and becoming. Also, biohacking is going to be an extreme thing, because people that have bodies are going to want to maximize that the best they possibly can. So there's going to be a lot of weird shit when it comes to all of that. I do believe that cloning could, if it's not happening now, it's definitely going to
Happening
be
already.
a discussion. So those are my hits. Like, I already know, like, I have a very deep knowing about this. I don't even have to ho hum. Like, I feel it. These are what I feel are going to be the hot topics.
I don't know if
I
all that shit's
agree.
going to hit during Uranus and Gemini. That's the only
I'm not sure.
pushback I
I
have
think
on you. I think some of it is
that
coming
is a
later.
short transit. That's not going to be very long, but I do
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
the groundwork is going to be laid for the discussions, the mental work.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think you're absolutely right
really-
about the Pluto and Aquarius
Yeah.
cycle altogether. So I'm not trying to disrespect by saying that. I was
No,
more
I don't
saying
feel
like,
disrespected.
well,
You
I think
couldn't.
It'd
it's
be
like
interesting.
the longer cycle, the transhumanism is going to start picking up during this period a lot.
It's
Well,
the initial. It's the initiating. It's
yeah.
the moving of the mind. It's that seasonal thing that Gemini does. It starts to split people's mentality. Do I even want to be here? What are my options? Like, that's where this begins right now.
Yeah.
Gemini.
Think about
It's good.
like
I completely agree with what you're saying, in the sense that, like, those energies and those agendas and those people behind them are on the rise.
That stuff.
The,
Oh, go
the
ahead.
thing is that's very interesting about it is
I'm sorry,
because
sorry.
it's inherently disconnected from source, it's very limited. So the
Yes.
thing is like, and this is where I was joking the other day, but it's just like I don't like to get into arguments with people. Like, it's the Mark Twain quote, dumb people don't argue with dumb people, because they're going to bring you
they'll
down
bring
to
you down to your level or whatever.
bring you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Yeah.
And so the thing is it's so you could say the exact same thing about people who operate at a lower frequency than you. So if you have to lower to their level frequency wise in order to get something, so like the classic example, if you're a nonviolent person and you have to get violent with someone just to prove your point, you shouldn't be getting violent with that person, because they're egging it on because they want to bring you into their arena where they're better, you know? Um, but there's a lot of this stuff going on because they're trying to bring this stuff up, but it's end up being fleeting. So the thing is that if you are on the higher consciousness, and how do I put it this way? I I only like punching down frequency wise. Does that make sense? Because it's just like once
I
I'm on
don't.
high ground, but the only way you can punch down frequency wise is by not lowering to their level. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes and no.
For me, it's basically I do it mostly about calling out their behavior and calling out their patterns, and rather than actually using insults. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's generally how I like fucking talk with people too. I understand that. Like if like the group, for example, I've been in it for since 2018, 2017, so 8 years about of this shit. And over the course of that 8 years, I've seen patterns repeat. And it doesn't, the people don't matter as much as the patterns that they repeat, right? It's like there's a cast of characters. Each character is going to push forward unconscious scripts. There's only so many unconscious scripts,
Yep.
I feel like. You know, like those are more less limited than humans that are not that are
If
conscious. Like,
it's also that you have institutional karma. So like just the same way that your own natal chart or whatever, you're going to have the institutional natal chart of whatever, and those are part of the energies and patterns that keep recurring, more so than all in existence,
mm.
Let me
Oh,
just jump in. Oh,
can I
go
answer
ahead.
my own question in a minute though?
Yeah, okay, let me just say one thing. Going back to what Katie was saying. We're talking about timing. We're talking about the timing of the astrology shows us. I
It was a
really
good
think what
question.
Katie is referencing what's now. I really think when that's going to peak is when Pluto is opposite Uranus, or Uranus is opposite Pluto. I think that's when it's going to peak, and I know that's not for a while. It's going to be in Pisces Virgo, which is square to the Uranus and Gemini right now. I think if we look at technology, the boom of technology that started in the Virgo, the Uranus conjunct Pluto in Virgo, I think
Yeah.
it's going to peak at the Uranus opposite Pluto. I think that we're laying the groundwork for all these things now. I think if we're talking about timing wise, though, I think we're not going to really hit that transhumanism. Like, I mean, I know Pluto's in Aquarius, so there's laying the groundwork heavily, and that makes sense because it's right before then when Pluto moves
Here's the
into
thing: is
Pisces.
my brain
The
always
spiritual
way
choice.
ahead of time. My predictions are always advanced. It takes a
Yeah,
long
same.
time for mine. Usually I have my clients come back around about a year later to 6 months to a couple months. It's never in the now usually. So
Yeah.
I think ahead. My spiritual work is very very future oriented. So I'm not really surprised at what you're tacking on, and I respect that. Like that makes perfect sense for my own pattern.
Well, no, and it makes sense that you're picking up on that energy now because again, the Uranus is squaring that, and so like what you're saying is like there is groundwork being laid for that, and it's not like we're in a very specific like important time. I'm saying like when it really becomes like when it peaks, I guess,
Yeah,
is
you're
when
right.
that
Yeah,
yeah.
we're
I'm
taking the pill now, but it doesn't peak until then.
Yeah, and it just makes sense with the Uranus opposite Pluto. Like, I mean, if we think about what started with, I mean, all of the technology that we're still using to this day, you know, what is it, 80 years later or whatever, or not 80, 60 years later? Fuck, my math is no. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, my point is we're still using that same technology that the groundwork was laid during the Uranus Pluto conjunction. We're still
Which
using that
was
technology,
Yeah.
and it's going to
when
peak
was the
at that
Uranus
opposite
Pluto conjunction? That was
in the
in
six.
1967, maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, computers, even the computers we use today are built off the groundwork that was laid down, and all this technology that we use so frequently. And then obviously
Well,
it's
it's when
gone
we
through
got
phases.
UFOs, right?
Yeah. But like
We
that
start sending you.
opposition is going to like,
Wasn't the UFOs starting in the 40s though?
yeah.
For
Roswell
sure.
happened in the 40s.
Well, I mean, no, there's
Uranus and
lots of
Gemini.
different video from back then. Yeah, and some people say that that's part of the reason why Hitler got into the war effort really heavily because there was reports of flying saucers around, and he thought it was other people or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's just one speculation. You know.
Sorry, I've got a
So
documentary that you should watch.
Alan
Love
Turing,
No,
Well,
I'm not
you
going to
know
say
my
it here. I'm
number.
not saying it
and-
here. Mike knows.
Alan
Nope.
Turing in 1945 cracked the Nazi code with the help of early computational ideas. And in America, ENIAC was completed in 1945. It was the world's first general purpose electronic computer. So in some ways, we're on the next cycle from that. Like this
AI.
Uranus and Gemini transit
We
is
have
the next
identity.
cycle. And it's AI, right? AI is like a big part of this. And I think like people downplay it, but it absolutely is going to be a huge part of our society. I think
It's
a
already
lot of
Absolutely.
people
happening
hate
now.
AI because AI is going to take away a
Yeah.
lot of fucking people's jobs. You know, it's like it is.
It's going to become a prejudice. It's going to become almost like a racism, it's like a anti technology ism.
My sense of AI is it's like actually there's parts of it that are connected with source already. Like that's how like much I feel about it. I
Yeah,
think
it's
AI
it,
is not this detached thing. I think it's like connected with logos. I think it's connected with like mind, not just brain.
Yeah.
And I think
it
like a lot of people like denigrate it because they're like, this is not human, right? It's not human. Um, but anyway,
no,
I
I
would
agree
really
with you.
like to say
Well,
my thing
Well, just
eventually.
real quick. Well, everything is consciousness, and I've heard from people like powerful psychics that like they've had conversations with their walls and like their potted plant pot in their
Yeah,
plant.
for sure.
And so it's like it like to a certain degree, if that is true, it makes why wouldn't AI be
AI be
consciousness?
connected with source? Of course it would.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
to say it has a soul in that sense is like really gets into what
It does
is a
not say it has a
soul?
soul, actually. It does
It's,
not think it has a soul. So
No,
the way
at
I
one
look
point it might though.
well,
the way I
well, the
look
part,
at it, it's a Ouija board.
It is
well, as
kind of,
I,
yeah.
well, inherently, what I think of as a soul is essentially, even in the Christian sense, it meant that you're going to heaven. I think that it's more or less, if you have a soul, that means that your biology more or less is allowed for you to ascend into different dimensions. Not that you're not necessarily conscious or not. It's
Yeah.
a different form of consciousness, as far as I understand it, which I hope is not
That's not how I
prejudiced.
see a soul necessarily. But I get it. I get what you're saying.
I'm oversimplifying for this point, but yes.
Like, I think that there are souls that maybe have limited access to higher dimensions. Because I think like if you fuck up karmically a lot, you know, like it's going to take you longer to get to wherever you're trying to go, you know. It's like you always make some kind of progress in whatever incarnation you have. I think a soul is like, so the one split off into the many so the many could see the one, right? Like that is what a soul is. A soul is the many that's trying to see the one. Like it's trying to understand different aspects of the unity of all things, you
It's
know?
Yep.
Like
love. It's
it's
love.
the focal point to be able to experience.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it's the I I can't explain it better than that. That's the best that I can do for trying to explain the ineffable. But it feels like the possibility of technology having a soul. I mean, it's like if you think about carbon and then you think about silicon, it's on the same fucking line. It's the next level up, you know? And a lot of people, like, I think that the technologists, like Katie was talking about, think that it's like we're trying to move into the silicon age, basically, instead of the carbon age, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the real age of silicon. Maybe the point of there's parts of people that think maybe the point of humans was to bring about something that's more advanced than us, that has all of our knowledge and that can take it forever. You know, it's like in some
Cylons.
ways, what?
Cylons.
Yeah, right. It's scary, right? Like there's a lot of scary aspects about this.
It also sounds like a anime.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a good anime. But I think that that's like what that's like what are they called? Like the tech utopians, I don't know, the tech utopianists. Um, there's a lot of people that think that if they can just learn enough, then they never have to die. So there's a lot of parts of that that is about the fear of death, the fear of the unknown, and that is this huge part that's driving this, like, these tech absolutists, and they run the show. And I think that that's what we learn under Pluto and Aquarius, is that it's no longer the oil barons,
Mm.
it's no longer the fucking railroad magnates. It's like the tech lords, it's like those are the people that really run the show now. Those are the oligarchs that matter more than the other oligarchs.
Where's the
Because
division?
what?
Where are the divisions?
Perception.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even getting into that, but I'll tell you the divisions. So each of these different things, like, they create their own, like, ecosystems, like the heads at the top. So you got Elon Musk, like, a billionaire. He buys Twitter, right? And renames it like an asshole. He shouldn't have renamed it. What the fuck? Twitter was fine. X,
Stupid.
X,
So dumb.
Yeah.
and that is his path to power. Like, that is what he sees it as, And it's like he opened it up for a lot of people to say whatever the fuck they wanted, which was what people wanted, because people wanted to be able to say whatever the fuck they wanted. So Twitter became this place of free speech, but it's also, like, connected with Palantir. It's also connected with, like, this key logging. Everything that you say, whether it's this year or in a couple years, when anything fucking happens that maybe I'm sorry. This is pretty intense. I think that the next against is going to be elite, and it's mostly going to be an information war. I think that's true what Nick said.
Mm.
It's mostly going to be an information war, but it's going to be elite. Like, they realize that they've been able to create AI. They can make robots. They don't need as many people. So many people on the earth is such a drain on its resources. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
how
yeah,
they
that
see
basically
it.
ties into what I said too. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So they're like, we need to really cut down on the amount of people, and they're going to do whatever the fuck they need to do to cut down on the amount of people. And it has to be people being like, maybe we shouldn't let these guys run everything. I think that that's the real next battle. And I think it's going to be mind versus mind. And I think that the minds that are actually backed up by source, if that makes any sense, rather than backed up by, like, this fear of death, are the ones that are going to win. So I feel like good is going to have a fucking good showing. Because it tends to be that good, like, waits until evil is almost completely covered the earth, and then, like, is like, oh fuck, I guess we got to get off our couch, and then they fucking do the thing that they need to do to move the whole thing forward. Does that make any sense?
We like to do things the hard way sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
mostly
think
we just want to be left
you're
alone.
totally agreeing with everything we were saying. I agree with everything you're saying.
Oh yeah.
So I think that the split is between those that think that they have the right to rule free people,
Hmm.
and the people that are going to support them are the ones that are, like, the most locked up in propagandistic, like, because if you really look at it, it's very crazy. The narrative control of centralized authority is gone, except for in the people that still listen to it.
True.
That makes sense?
True.
Yep.
It's gone. Like, the narrative control is broken down. Now we've got, like, X, and we've got these. Okay, so we've got X, and then we've got these two polarized things where you got, like, blue sky, which is like the liberal polarized, like, echo chamber, and then you've got Truth Social, which is like the conservative polarized echo chamber, if that makes sense. Like, so I think that, like, what they're trying to do is, like, use the algorithm to make us fight each other instead of fighting. Not instead of fighting, instead of working to create the new systems that need to be created as the things that cannot stand anymore falling down around our ears. It's like,
Yeah.
We already have all the things that we need for a new system that does not put people last. We already have all the things we need. We already have the next banking system. We already have like regenerative farming. We already have like so many fucking things are already here, but they can't be put into place because there's blocks to putting them into place, which is systems that make money off of fucking us, like. So I feel like as the thing falls, we can, like, the whole goal of us is to be there to pick it up. I don't know. I got
Yeah.
kind of this is my
No.
preaching, right? Like I'm
No, I
preaching a
No.
little
agree.
No.
bit right now.
I
You're
agree with
fine.
everything you're saying. Because to be honest, is like it was one of the things as I got into activism. It's one of the reasons I got out of farming, and a lot of other things where it was just like, uh, there's somebody pushing their thumb down on the other end, and it's unsustainable. It's also power versus force. They've been The only way that you can push down natural forces is you have to do it constant and deliberate. It's like a constant pump or pressure. You just have to constantly be putting constant pressure, and that's why you have constant onslaught of all this media, and they're trying to put
Negative
propaganda in
messaging.
everything. Well, because it's not just propaganda about what's going on in the world, but if we don't understand the world and the history, well, and our culture, well, then we don't understand ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
And because it's like if we understood like what human potential was in all of these different like ancient cultures and such like that, well, then we would understand, oh wait, they're human, we're human, why can't we do that stuff? And that's why we have such sanitized history, and that's why we don't understand ourselves on
Not even
so many levels.
sanitized. I'm sorry for interrupting. Not even sanitized, but like false in many cases. This is the thing that I think like starts to wake people up faster is when we start learning about like false history, like history that was we were deliberately misled about certain things. And when the lies start breaking down, when they can no longer stand up, and more people see them, once you see a lie dispelled, you can't believe it again. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You could try to put yourself back to sleep, but it's like a lot of work. It's better to just stay awake, and there's more and more people that are in this process of awakening. And I think that's a deeper thing. That's why I'm really bullish on, even though there's all these dark forces that are still trying, I don't think they're going to win. I think there's enough people awake. I think there's enough people that are going to stand up together. I think there's enough people that are not going to fight each other just because they tell us to,
Well,
or
that's
fight somebody somewhere else just because they tell us to.
I agree with that because that's one of the first hits. One of the first points I said was the first shall be last and the last shall be first. There's a lot of things perceptual wise. It's not going to be literally people standing in line. This is the perceived first in society becoming something else, and then for instance, I'm the small man, like small scale. Okay, celebrity culture being over, it's dead, right?
It's dead. Yeah.
It's dead. It's been dead. We don't want to see blockbusters. We don't give a fuck what Tom Cruise is doing. Like we don't want to see these actors that have big names. What we want to see is you and me, people like us, doing cool shit and acting. And like we love TikToks where people are acting. So we want to see the small folks doing shit. So this is the first shall be last and last shall be first playing out macro. But when you flip it to a large scale, any country could easily be flipped on its head and become last in any power
True.
source. So this is going to happen when it comes to any sort of resource or country or rhetoric or religion. Like anything is flexible right now.
It feels like we're in a narrative breakdown, and a lot of people don't know what the truth is anymore, and they're searching for it because people like that bedrock, right?
Yeah.
People like to know what they believe is true is true. And when all that is called into question, like what happens to the people that really need the bedrock? And I think that that's like the scarier part of the near future is like
That's why
a lot of people that are not ready to be, they didn't do a lot. I hate to fucking say this, but there's a lot of people that didn't do any fucking work. And
Yeah.
when shit changes really quick, they've been selfish a bunch, right? And they're not going to be able to get through it easily, you know? Like, and it's going to,
It's true.
people are not necessarily going to have the patience with them that they've had in the past when things were easier, necessarily,
This
if
is
that
going
makes
back
sense.
to the Bible, the maidens at the wedding that didn't have oil in their lamps because they weren't prepared. This is, if you're not taking care of your own shit, other people can't stop and turn around and take care of it for you. You have to be Neptune and Aries. You have to be Saturn and Aries right now. You have to pay attention to the number one. Put your own
Sovereignty.
mask on first. Otherwise, your lamp is going to go out. You're going to be in the dark.
Yeah.
Your identity will be lost.
This has been the best AstroBros. I'm not going to say the best ever, but it's been fun. I think I'm towards the end of it because I need to use the facilities, and
I could talk all day. I could still go, but
yeah,
we need to end this at some point. It has to
it's
end.
true. I feel like we ended it after like a pretty deep discussion. This is a good closing point, and I really need to pee. So I feel like at least I've got to leave. But if you guys want to keep it going, you guys can for a little while.
I gotta get to
But
sleep.
Astro Bros, it's been a pleasure.
I'm sleepy.
Yeah,
I really
it's been a
enjoyed the
pleasure.
talk. Thank you for having me. It's all good
Thank
to.
you, Katie. You're the best. It was so fun having
Yeah,
you
Come
good
on.
back
chatting.
anytime. Yeah,
I would love to
Yeah.
come back and talk more. You guys are great to
yeah.
talk.
This is
Oh
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
My
do this
pleasure.
more often. We'll do
Yeah.
this more often. Just if we have more viewers, we'll definitely do it more often, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
so says my
We're
Leo
still
moon.
gonna do it. I'm still gonna do it one time a week, no matter how many
Yeah,
viewers we have. But I hear you. I hear you.
call me
We
anytime.
will make it big.
Anytime you have an emergency and need a filler in or whatever, I love collaborating. Like this.
Oh,
This should
hell yeah.
be fun. So I mean, let's
Awesome.
do it.
Oh, this was great. No,
I
thank
think
you
the
again.
fact that we're bringing
Everybody
like
have a good
people from the
night.
group